Cape Media Center, building community through media.
Cape Cod is known for its incredibly seasonal market. But how do these year-round restaurants keep their legs up during the harsh winter months? 799 Main Street is home to one of these year-round restaurants, Scargo Cafe. Besides being one of the first places in Dennis to have a telephone, the building housed 5 restaurants over the years. But brothers Peter and David Troutman bought the building in 1987 and Scargo Cafe was born.
We have since day one in 1987 consciously tried to cultivate a local clientele. We knew that there was going to be an off-season, and rather than taking what was low-hanging fruit, the tourists, or across the street is the Cape Playhouse Theater, that's easy business to get. The problem is if you become dependent on it. We always felt that, well, what happens when that dries up and goes away? So we did a number of different things from day one that would minimize the amount of tourism and special event traffic and really actively work towards developing an off-season clientele. The menu itself is part of what we've done to develop and attract a year-round clientele. So we perpetually update it, add some specials. We travel a fair amount. Our chefs all try other restaurants, and we try to incorporate things and keep it kind of updated and go after the things people like. If it's a special that doesn't go over well, we don't run it again. If it's really popular, we add it to the regular menu. I don't just think it, I absolutely know it. And we have made a priority since we opened the doors of cultivating, having a culture here of camaraderie, of support, of professionalism.
Everyone here is a team, which is really nice, and I know that I can just walk into work and be surrounded by people that love me, people that love what they do, and most importantly, people who love each other. And that's something that's really rare in a restaurant, I think, is to have a full roundabout staff that cares so deeply about every little detail, every little dish, every little thing that goes on top of the dish or the fork or the silverware or the butter, but most importantly, each other.
As important as the food is and the clients are and the business is important, the work environment is our priority. My brother and I both left a job where we were not terribly happy. We didn't feel we'd been fully respected. And so when we opened the restaurant, yes, we wanted to make a good living, but our priority was about the work environment, and we wanted that to trickle down to the staff, and we wanted that to trickle down to the clientele, because I believe they can feel that.
Another thing that's really great about the staff is we don't really have staff that's not here year-round. Everyone is in it from January 1st to December 31st back over again. Most of the people who have worked here for many, many years and have built a lot of strong relationships too, and are so welcoming to some of the newer staff members that do get to join us over certain periods of time.
I think we're heavily invested in the community. We try to support a number of different organizations, and I think that gains likewise support from them for us. That keeps us busy. And as they say, that avoids that roller coaster ride of the seasonality.
Cape Media Center, building community through media.
Kim Phillips is busy setting up shop for her latest cooking demonstration, which in the year of 2025 probably feels like just one more in an endless series of cooking demos. Not that she's complaining, because at the outset of the year, at best, all of what we see now was nothing more than just a few ideas written on a notepad. After completing production courses as a member at the Cape Media Center, Phillips had designs on doing a cooking show. The only thing missing? The venue. Enter the Dennis Center for Active Living, or DCAL as the locals call it. It was here that Phillips pitched her concept to Brenda Vasquez, the center's director.
I went to Brenda and said, look, this is what I want to do. I had like a kind of a project sheet, and I showed it to her, and she just was like, wow. And she says, you know, I'm writing a grant about nutritional eating and educating the public and community, having people be social, and my program just fit right into that like a glove.
That grant provided not only a place for Phillips to showcase her skills, but also gave her a food budget so she could bring her tasty recipes to life. Suddenly, what was supposed to be a cooking show now became the Real Food Tales Roadshow with an active audience. To some extent, it almost felt like Kim's test kitchen.
It turned into my test kitchen, sort of. I'd call it more of my recipe testers. And the people that came, they just loved what I was making and the fact that it didn't have sugar or ultra-processed foods. And they were really excited about what I was presenting and that it's delicious. And what? No sugar? Wow! And all of these reactions encouraged me to do more.
When we dropped by, Phillips was putting together a carrot cake, which, according to certain polls, is the third most popular cake in the world. While she assembled the cake in her own unique fashion, whether it was soaking the dates in coffee or toasting the coconut flakes in this little oven, she also omitted certain ingredients. When she goes into teaching mode for her attendees, she explains why.
I use different ingredients instead of white refined sugar. I'll use maple syrup, which gives you less of a glycemic spike with your blood sugar and better for your health. So I explain all those tips about each recipe, and people ask questions, and everyone's interactive. It turned into this interactive discussion about nutrition and food, which I love. It was more than I ever expected, and the reception was just so overwhelmingly. People love everything I make. They love what I'm doing. They love my approach and what I'm offering.
Delicious.
And they come back.
And they seem poised to keep coming back. One change moving forward with this program, however, will be the dates and times for them to show up. When she first started in May of 25, it was an every Friday morning event. Now, with her sights set on writing a cookbook, it's become more of a select dates only affair. But the location will always be the same, the Decal Cafe, which just happens to be the first room people see when they enter the building. And when they leave the building, Kim Phillips hopes it's with more than just a little extra food in their bellies.
I want them to go home and try my recipes and eat less sugar and less ultra-processed foods. That's my goal in life. So I preach to people, yes, and I just kind of explain how they can do that, how I did that, how it improved my life, and how any recipe can be delicious without sugar and ultra-processed foods. And that's what I proved here.
Cape Media Center, building community through media.
I am Nate from Cape Cod Magnet Crew. We've been doing this magnet fishing thing now probably a couple of years. Started out because my kids and I were trying to find something to get out. You know, this was right around the end of COVID, and everybody was stuck in their houses, and we're like, what can we do? And my kids have watched a whole bunch of magnet fishing online, and we're like, let's buy a couple magnets. We bought a couple cheap ones. We pulled out some like hooks and some nails. And we're like, this is awesome, but we want more than hooks and nails. So went home, ordered a bigger magnet, and our very first time out, we were at Cove Road in Dennis, and we found a safe. It was actually our very first video that I filmed, so it was really, really cool, but it was empty. There was nothing in it. Still a cool find. So magnet fishing, it's not like a regular fridge magnet. It's not actually going to do anything for you. You throw in the water, it's just going to float away because it's really, really light. Magnet fishing is when you use this neodymium. It's this rare earth. It's kind of in a powder until you turn it into a magnet. But you can get them from a couple hundred pull magnet all the way up to 6,000 pounds. That scares me. 6,000 pounds. Mine's 3,500. and I already pull up enough heavy stuff. It's not only good for, finding fun stuff, but a big part of the reason why we do it and the reason why we chose Cape Cod Magna Crew is we're here. I mean, we grew up around water, and it's kind of become a conservation thing for us. You know what I mean? Metal shouldn't be out here. Sure, stuff happens, there's accidents, but a safe doesn't get in the water by accident. Someone threw that in there, you know what I mean? So there's a ton of different things that are floating around the river. I find tons of batteries. Those things leach all sorts of toxic chemicals into the water. And as you saw a moment ago, we had a seal here. Seals don't need to be playing around with batteries. So I want to get them up. I am not a very big people-y person. This hobby has not really forced me, but it's given me an opportunity to meet people that are like-minded and actually connect with people, which is not something that me as a very introverted type of person had done before. So I've got friends from England, I've got friends from Germany, all over this country. It's amazing what YouTube and the magna fishing community can do, because it takes this big, huge world and makes it like this. You know, we talk about the Cape and it being a small town, but as soon as you go online, as soon as you're on the internet, YouTube, whatever, you've taken that world and you've made it into a small town. That's really why I like it. It's kind of forced me to come out of my shell, but also, again, still be creative, still clean up, still do that stuff that really, really matters here locally on a micro level. So, I mean, everybody wishes that they could do their dream, you know, and that's kind of this has become my dream, is to stick with magna fishing, and who knows, maybe bring it into retirement and keep doing it, because it's fun and it's awesome.
Cape Media Center, building community through media.
With over 500 nonprofits on the Cape, it can be difficult to make your organization's message heard. That's where video comes in. It can engage your intended audience and allow for better retention, improved clarity, and understanding. Cape Media Center is willing to help your organization create a persuasive message through the power of video. For a small fee, we'll work with you to create a compelling public service announcement and even produce a full-length television segment showcasing your nonprofit in depth. Once completed, these videos will run on Comcast Channel 26, Roku TV, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Plus, your organization can use these videos in your own newsletter, website, and social media platforms at no additional cost. So let's work together to strengthen your outreach and better serve our community.
I'm Jen Pina, producing artistic director here at Cape Cod Theatre Company Harwich Junior Theatre. Cape Cod Theatre Company Harwich Junior Theatre is a multi-generational, educational community theatre in our 74th season. We were founded by Betty Bope. She was an educator here and in Boston, and she founded what was then the Harwich Junior Theatre at the Exchange Hall in Harwich Center in 1952 with their first show, Cinderella. It grew from there, from the Harwich Junior Theatre, which was mostly producing shows during the summer and for young audiences and families, to where we are now, which is multi-generational theatre with shows for audiences of all ages, with up to 10 fully produced shows happening year-round every year, multiple partnerships with other local artists and performers, so we have special events throughout the year, and a really robust education program. So we have classes year-round through 4 seasons, winter, spring, summer, and fall sessions from ages 4 through adult. We have camps while school is on break during school vacations and summer vacation. We have classes from creative drama through Broadway Kids, through singing for the stage, creative drama on the spectrum, scene study for adults. It just goes on and on and on. I saw my first play here when I was 5. It was Emil and the Detectives. And my older brother, Joel, was in the play, and I was on the edge of my seat. The theater went dark, and there was this sort of warm glow, and we were a family that read a lot of books. So for me, storytelling was just a part of like the magical part of the day. And to see this story come to life and have my brother be in it, I thought, I want to do that. And then through the years, I've played a number of different roles here. I mean, in plays, but also had multiple jobs here. So I've done everything from children's theater to junior players, our teen ensemble program, both being in it and teaching it, to Shakespeare and some of the classics, to experimental theater. And I've been an actor, a director, a choreographer. I've been an usher and a house manager. I've done really almost every job, and now producing artistic director as well. I'm so fortunate to work with the folks that I do here. We have a very small, incredibly talented, hardworking, and dedicated full-time staff. And then we have this huge team of contractors who are either teaching artists or production team members that really reach out into the whole community. We're just so fortunate. And then beyond that, volunteers, a volunteer board, volunteer front of house folks, people who do all sorts of things for us, and then our business partners and sponsors too. So in that way too, we really are a community theater. For more information about volunteering, taking a class, auditioning for a show, coming to see a show, anything else you want, you can walk in the door. I would say my door is always open, but there's not even a door on my office. So come on in and say hello. And you can look at our website, capecodtheatercompany.org. We are a true community theater, so we're multi-generational in every way you can think of. We've been around for multiple generations. We have multiple generations who are on the staff, on the board, in our classes, in a play at any given time. Multiple generations come to see our shows. We've got grandparents, parents, grandkids all together. And we could not do it without volunteers. We're here for that purpose. We're here as a community organization, a community theater, and the community part's really important.
By now, drivers in Yarmouth have probably seen enough signs like these to last them a lifetime. The orange and black combo would appear to be the color code of impending doom for anyone trying to get somewhere in a hurry. But for those of us who keep in regular contact with our inner 5-year-old, seeing and hearing all of these earth-moving vehicles, steamrollers, and people in hard hats is the best thing ever. Truth told, the town of Yarmouth has taken on the massive task of rerouting residential sewer lines throughout town. And what we're seeing is phase 1 of this endeavor.
This is really starting from scratch in Yarmouth. We've got zero infrastructure in place, so we are literally putting brand new sewer lines in the roads. So we're right now going down Route 28. We're digging down at some areas depths of 30 feet, putting in 30-inch sewer lines. And that's going to go basically all throughout town. Phase 1 is primarily Route 28 and along the shore on Shoreside Drive. But you're going to be really completely brand new infrastructure. So you're digging up the roads, putting in the sewer lines, and then putting in the pump stations throughout town.
The phase 1 of this project carries a price tag of $207 million, which comes from the state revolving funds overseen by the Department of Environmental Protection. It also carries a multi-year duration of detours and delays. But there is a light at the end of this tunnel.
This is going to take approximately 3 years to complete. Once it's completed, then everybody that has a connection available for sewer will be able to hook in, and we'll start operating right off the bat.
As for the destination of the flow coming from these pipes, we head over to 99 Buck Island Road, where we find the footprint to the eventual wastewater treatment plant. When we stopped by in early October of 2025, they were only about 6 months into the construction, putting in the subsurface structures and soil anchors. Essentially, they're laying down the foundation for what will be an enormous operation. Once all the infrastructure is in place, anything that goes down the drain, whether it's the sink, shower, or toilet, will end up here at this brand new facility. And creating a system in which all of the effluent material from the new pipes of the impactful areas like Route 28 and South Shore Drive makes its way here will be quite the mission accomplished.
It is, quite an engineering feat. You have the entire town of Yarmouth, and like I said, most of it is gravity fed, so it's all gonna start uphill and kind of come downhill to where our treatment facility is located.
As a grade 6 operator, Ryan Chase has achieved the state's highest level of certification to be qualified to take on a project of this magnitude. But it was more than just his pedigree that compelled him to pursue this.
It is pretty involved. There's a lot of different aspects to it, some biology, chemical additions, and there's a lot that goes into it, but it's a pretty neat project. One of the reasons I got into it was I'm a lifelong resident here on Cape Cod, and again, you look at how much work in this nature is going on, and I thought this would be really kind of neat to be involved in the ground floor of sewer expansion on Cape Cod.
But as neat as it may be, Ryan Chase is not only the project's manager, he's also the public face of it. And this is only phase 1 of an 8-phase endeavor, which is set to take 40 years to complete. Trying to convince residents and business owners who've already been impacted by the detours and delays that it will somehow all work out in the end is a difficult task.
When we talk to the residents of the town, the inconvenience of the construction is probably our biggest concern. It is kind of tough to go through at first, but it's going to be a really good thing, and I think generations further down the line will look back to this and say, we were the ones that really, took the bull by the horns and decided that this needed to be done.
Every year, the Centerville-Osterville Marston's Mills Fire Department, known as COMM, goes head-to-head with Falmouth Fire Department for an annual charity hockey game. This year, the funds from the game go to the Will Agnew Memorial Foundation.
A couple of us have put together this game with Falmouth Fire to contribute to a fundraiser for the Will Agnew Memorial Foundation. Each year we play with the Falmouth Fire and COMM Fire, and last year we played for Falmouth's charity, and this year we're going to play for ours, and then we'll switch back and forth each year.
I'm a firefighter paramedic on the COMM Fire Department, and Will was one of my very close friends. Last year we played in Falmouth for one of their members' sisters who was diagnosed with ALS, and we're going to try to continue a yearly thing, alternating which department hosts. So this year we're the host department. Next year, hopefully we'll do it again in Falmouth.
The Will Agnew Memorial Foundation was set up by his sister Victoria in honor of his name that was tragically lost in a motorcycle accident in 2023. The funds go to the tech schools, Upper Cape and Lower Cape on the Cape, for toolships and scholarships in the electrical trade. Will went to the Lower Cape Tech School for electrical, and he worked alongside his dad at RCA Electric.
The game was definitely a success, with the stands being filled with friends and family, all gathered to watch these fire stations face off and raise funds for a good cause.
For more information about the foundation, you can go to willagnewmemorialfund.com.
Cape Media Center, building community through media.
Hey, I'm Kayla. I was an intern at Cape Media Center back in 2019, and that experience totally launched my career in media. And I'm Destiny. I was right there with Kayla in 2019, learning everything from camera work to editing and loving every second of it. The staff here at Cape Media Center were always hands-on and always willing to answer our questions, especially with our final project. We created a series of videos called the Blue Economy Project, where we dove deeper into how the ocean plays a vital role in Cape Cod's economy. The series was well approved, and we couldn't have done it without the Cape Media Center. Fast forward to now, I'm working in live music production and have even worked at venues such as Gillette Stadium and Fenway Park. And I actually came full circle. I'm back at the Cape Media Center, this time on staff. Cape Media Center gave us the tools, the confidence, and the real-world experience to chase our creative goals. It's more than just a media center, it's a launch pad for your future. Start your story at Cape Media Center in Dennisport. Cape Media Center, your voice, your vision, your community.
Cape Media Center, building community through media.